1861 map was by Lincoln's side as he decided the fate of America's slaves. The 1861 map was by Lincoln's side as he decided the fate of America's slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation was a strategic political move. The bloodiest day in American history led to the Emancipation Proclamation. The bloodiest day in American history led to the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln saw slavery as unjust, but he didn't know how to end the institution. The 1861 map drew a link between the Army and slavery. The 1861 map vividly showed the South's dependence on slavery. It also proclaimed the map's political position in the banner at the top, which reads, "For the sick and wounded soldiers of the Army." In this declaration, the Coast Survey linked the success of the Union Army with slavery, using the map to promote political change. As Susan Shelton argued in the New York Times, the map was unlike anything before. It was simultaneously a landmark cartographic achievement, a popular propaganda tool, and an eminently practical instrument of military policy. The map of Virginia may have helped win the war, along with the map of slavery in the South overall. The U.S. Coast Survey also published a map of slavery localized in Virginia. New evidence shows that the mapmakers behind these maps had an anti-slavery agenda. One of the Virginia map's creators, William Palmer, gave the map to military and political leaders such as the Secretary of the Navy and multiple Army generals. Palmer also gave signed copies of the map to foreign diplomats, including one from France. It was critical for Union efforts to keep the French and British from joining forces with the Confederacy. This map, demonstrating Virginia's reliance on slave labor, may have persuaded European nations not to support the slaveholding states. The map showed Lincoln the South's commitment to slavery. Some in the Confederacy might have used the rallying cry of states' rights, but the map painted a different picture. It showed entire regions of the South that were deeply dependent on slave labor, including South Carolina, which led the rebellion. The map's depiction of the bondage of 4 million people showed slavery's hold in the Chesapeake Bay, the Georgia coast, and the Mississippi River Valley. The Coast Survey map also vividly showed which parts of the Confederacy had little allegiance to slavery, guiding military strategy to focus on regions like eastern Tennessee and western Virginia that might hold pockets of resistance. In the New York Times, historian Susan Shelton contended that the map may have reinforced Lincoln's belief that supporting certain Southern Unionists could break the Confederacy, and that a blockade might choke a rebellion that depended on the export of cotton picked by slaves. Parts of cotton country were more than 90% slaves. The 1861 Coast Survey map showed that in some counties, more than 90% of the population was made up of slaves. Along the Mississippi River, slaves vastly outnumbered free whites. Many of these slaves may have reached the Deep South via the Slavery Trail of Tears, which forced about 1 million slaves to walk 1,000 miles from Virginia to cotton country. Lincoln had seen these very slaves when he traveled the Mississippi River in 1828 and 1831, transporting farm goods to New Orleans. But the urban South had a much smaller percentage of slaves, for example, only 9% of the population in Orleans Parish, Louisiana, was made up of slaves. The rest of the city was largely comprised of whites and free blacks. These numbers on the Coast Survey map drove home the vastly different experiences of slavery in Confederate cities vs. those in rural and farming areas. Slavery map was a radically new way of mapping. The slavery map was a radically new way of mapping. Then, a map of slavery in the South shaped the Civil War. This map, produced by the U.S. Coast Survey in 1861, drew on census reports from 1860, the final year the United States government collected census data on slaves. The map shows the prevalence of slavery by county, with darker counties representing a higher percentage of slaves and lighter counties a lower percentage. The map was visual proof of the South's dependence on slave labor. It also gave the public a way to visualize the variations of slavery throughout the South during the Civil War. More importantly, President Abraham Lincoln relied on the map in deciding how to end the institution of slavery. In his first inaugural address, Lincoln said he wouldn't interfere with slavery in states where it already existed. In his first inaugural address, Lincoln said he wouldn't interfere with slavery in states where it already existed.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care. Bye.